everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a movie review for Without Remorse that is starring Michael B. Jordan, Jodie Turner-Smith, and of course the lovely Lauren London on Amazon Prime Video. So without further ado, let's get into how I felt about this film. I'm gonna give it a B+ rating. I really like this film for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, it was nice to see Michael B. Jordan, of course, ladies, and a lot of hubbub and buzz has been around his name because of who he's currently dating, Harvey, which is why I put her in the title, because a lot of people suspect that this relationship might be a PR stunt, possibly because he had this movie coming up. The timing is uncanny, and also I think there was a little bit of talk because his wife in the movie is a black woman, and there's a lot of talk for years about Michael B. Jordan suspectedly not dating black women, and now he's dating one in Harvey, so it all works out. There would be no talk, even though he has had black wives or girlfriends in other movies. I don't know about the PR stunt rumors or whatever, but that is kind of swarming around this movie because of the timing. Regardless of that, I thought the movie was really good. So in general, we all watched the movie, that's why we're here, so I won't go into detail about what happened, but in case you haven't watched the movie but you just want to see if people thought it was good and before you go and see it, it is about an ex-Navy SEAL who goes on a mission to avenge his wife and unborn daughter being killed by some Russian operatives, and there's a tangled story within this. It's not so clear-cut, but in general, it's full of drama, full of action, full of emotion, and that's what I really liked about this movie. It's really nice to see Lauren London. She hasn't really popped up much after the death of her life partner, Nipsey Hussle, and so she looks refreshing, she looks beautiful. I did think that her and Michael B. Jordan did have chemistry, which is important because not everyone has good on-scene romance chemistry. He played a father, he was doting, he was super sweet to her, and also in general, even though she didn't have a lot of screen time, she was supportive of him, and it was that young black couple that we don't typically get to see too much of, especially in these military movies. I'm not really used to seeing a lot of military movies. This is not really my jam. I watched it purposely because of Lauren London and Michael B. Jordan. So for a military ex-Navy officer going rogue, you know, we've seen that storyline a bunch of times in movies. This one was really good. It was really refreshing to see the characters who were the main characters, right? We have Michael B. Jordan, who's a black man. We have Jodie Turner-Smith, who is the lieutenant commander. She's a black woman. And then we have Lauren London, who's a black woman, who are our stars of this movie. So that was really good to see. I'll get into the reasons why I really love this movie. The emotion was so good. Not only was the action good, but it was good to see Michael B. Jordan so emotional, right? Everything that he did in this movie was driven by emotion, was driven by grief, was driven by anger. Now, a lot of you probably saying, like, yeah, we've seen Michael B. Jordan be emotional in other movies. I haven't really seen Michael B. Jordan in movies too much. Like I said, I purposely watched this one because he's in it. So it was just nice to see him break down and cry. Not nice in general, I wasn't enjoying that, but just nice to see him break down and cry, see the anger, see no remorse, see the emptiness in him, what happened to him having his wife, his pregnant wife, killed in her bedroom, and there's nothing that he could have done. At first, when I was watching the movie and I saw that he had his headphones on, she warned him not to listen to music too long, and I'm thinking she's gonna be killed upstairs and he won't even know about it. But because they turned the power out, he was able to, you know, come out of the music because his music wasn't working, and he killed 3 of the operatives out of 4 who were upstairs, but he wasn't in time to save his wife's life. Now, this movie is centered around the U.S. Navy, of course, but the involvement of the CIA. Shows like Snowfall, many other movies, now this movie, have exposed the CIA for the organization that they are. These movies aren't just picking these ideas and these plots out of the thin air. It's not just a figment of our imagination. It's a consensus that we know that our government factions like the FBI and the CIA and the NRA and everything that involves the government, there is a extreme level of corruption, extreme levels of cover-up, extreme levels of misleading the public, us thinking that the CIA or our military are going into different countries and doing different things under a guise of whatever the personal or the governmental agenda really is. And so this movie exposes that, right? There's a little bit of a race element that was alluded a couple times in this movie. The first time was when Michael B. Jordan was in jail. He had just killed the guy who sold the passports to the 4 Russian operatives that killed his family. And so before he killed them, after he killed them, he was being detained, and he was just telling Lieutenant Greer that I gave my life, and we, meaning black people, have given our life for a country that doesn't love us. And you showed that he had no despair. He was completely emotionless. So he didn't care to represent the Army, or represent the Navy rather, or the military, or the United States properly, because he knows that the United States government and the United States military doesn't respect his black body. The other allusion to race was a little bit indirect, but if you know, you know. At the very end, when, I forget his name, but Michael B. Jordan was driving, the special director, off the bridge, and we are thinking he's going to kill them both. The director gave the reason why the CIA was behind everything that happened, the entire setup. It's because they know that when there is tragedy in this country, and there is war in this country, the patriotism seems to surge 1,000 times fold and bring people together. And he alluded that there is a current war from one half of the country to the other. I definitely believe he's talking about race, right? Because if we're setting this in 2020 or 2021, the racial tensions in this country are at an all-time high. It's never been at a low, right? It's just been covered up, and it's been different from decade to decade. But today, it's at an all-time high. So if we place this movie today, it would be like, okay, they set up these Russian operatives to kill U.S. Servicemen on U.S. soil, and all of a sudden, everyone stops fighting each other about race and sex and transphobia and homelessness. Everyone stops fighting each other over these things, and now they focus on a common enemy, which would be Russia. Now, it seems that when Michael B. Jordan went over into Russia to catch the last operative, the one that got away, he told him the truth that he's doing the same thing that John was doing, right? He was misled. It was a setup. He was a crusader, a patriot for his country, just doing the job. And so all these people are pawns in a whole bigger scheme, and it makes you think about 9/11, and it makes you think about other tragedies, the war for oil in Iraq, right? And going into Afghanistan, and just in general, the military presence that's in all these different countries, that the United States are in these different countries, is why are they there? People are dying, children are dying, civilians are dying, they're blowing up villages, all in the name of protection and patriotism and freedom for America. We don't even know what that means, right? Protecting our freedom. We don't even know what that means. And this is not an anti-military rant right now, so I just want to get that clear. The United States has done some extreme atrocities in the name of freedom, right? In the name of patriotism and protecting America and protecting the world. And this is just another little example this movie showed, that they sent 4 people on the Russian side, 5 people on the U.S. side, but these lives still matter. Countless people have still died in between all of that, just to create a diversion, create an enemy out of Russia. We used to be enemies with Russia back during the Cold War decades ago, and he said that, Russia was our biggest enemy, and so why not stoke that fire again, so that all the tension that's happening within U.S. soil ceases, and we focus on a common enemy, which I don't think is shy of anything that the U.S. has ever done in real life. I don't know too much about the Navy, so I know if I'm going to be corrected, I am welcoming it. But I did like a few things about that I give a nod to the strength of Navy SEALs. For example, just knowing that him wrapping up his fist ready to fight, and then him flooding his cell with his clothes. And I'm thinking, why is he flooding his cell? It's because he was ready for the agents or whomever was trying to fight him. He didn't know who was on his side. He knew that they wouldn't be able to combat in water, and I guess the Navy SEALs train in water, right, able to combat in water, so he's not slipping and sliding, and they are. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, that is an interesting tactic. Another thing that they gave a little nod to Navy SEALs and their training is when Michael B. Jordan, or John, drove off the bridge with the director in his, I'm calling him the director, I hope he's the director, but I know the director is the woman, so I know he's something else. We're going to call him the director for all intents and purposes. But he drove off the bridge with him, and he was able to hold his breath so calmly. I don't know if you guys really noticed that. Of course he was holding his breath, but if you notice how calm he was in the seat, he was just sitting there, eyes open. It led the viewer to believe that he was ready to die, maybe because he was so calm. I was like, okay, he's calm. Maybe he's just thinking, but he's going to exit eventually. Maybe he knew someone's going to come save him. I don't know, but we learned that someone came and saved him, right? Because he faked his death, and he was alive at the end of the movie. But at the time, I'm thinking, why is he so calm? How could he hold his breath for that long? It was really impressive. So again, I like those two nods to the strength and the training and the rigorous, brutal training that I know Navy SEALs go through. That was really cool to see. I love the relationship between Karen Greer, the lieutenant commander, and of course John Kelly. It seemed like it was super professional, of course, because she is his superior, but it seemed like they had a playful, actual friendship. You saw that when after Lieutenant Commander did the right thing and said, hey, John Kelly is not suited to be in the field. He was picking at her and pushing her, and she was pushing back, and that just showed a really playful relationship that they had. But I did like that she always had his best interest. Even when she gave him information that he shouldn't have, you can tell that there was some love there for him. Even when she said he wasn't suited for battle because it's a conflict of interest, the people that he's supposed to be extracting killed his family and that could compromise the mission, she was looking out for him and had his best interest. So all in all, the reason why I rate this so high, because we see another layer of Michael B. Jordan. We see him go through so many different emotions, and I think he did a really good job. I think he conveyed despair, grief, hopelessness. There was, he went from emotional. He didn't show too much emotion except for when he broke down in his house and saw all the wreckage before he went out on his mission. But then we saw that type of grief, rather. He did show plenty of emotion in this movie. That type of grief of him actually crying, and then very quickly it changed into anger and determination. And then it changed into hopelessness, right? He was literally throwing his body all over the place without a care. He knew that when he was coming back to the United States after this mission, he was going to jail. He felt like he didn't have any life left. That's why he stayed on a crashed plane in order to rescue gear, in order to continue the mission while everyone saved themselves. That's why he allowed his men and women to save themselves while he created diversions on the roof. That's why when a bunch of agents with guns bust into his cell, he's ready to fight them all with his bare hands. He really had nothing to lose. He believed he had nothing to lose, including his life. And so he was ready to put it all on the line. This was a beautiful performance by Michael B. Jordan. I have recommended already before this movie for my family to watch it. I did intend to watch it for the review, but I actually ended up liking it. So that's all I have about this movie. Again, I give it a B+. I really liked it. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this movie. Any questions that you have, any questions I had that you can answer, and just in general, tell me how you feel about this movie. I do film reviews and movie reviews on this channel. I also do TV show reviews. Right now I'm in the middle of The Handmaid's Tale. So subscribe, comment, stay tuned for more reviews, and thank you for tuning in.